And we are here at the Amira EMC conference, and I am so excited. We have Richard Schodde with me today. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much for inviting me along.
It's going to be a real challenge for me to not keep asking you questions because I've been very excited about chatting to you today. So we'll try and keep it snappy for LinkedIn, but we'll jump straight in. So I was really curious. It's still early days on day one, but some of the key takeaways that you're taking from the conference so far, some of your thoughts, with where the discussions are going at this point.
Sure. The EMC Amira conference is really a very special event.
Yeah.
It's a privilege to be invited along because it's sort of an invitation only.
Yeah.
It's a very concentrated version of other conferences that are around, but the critical difference here is that you have all of the decision makers, the key senior managers or the bosses of all of the exploration groups here, and they're the switched on ones as well because they're committed to the Amira process. So I find this is a really interesting and insightful conference to come to. It's a very small group of people. There's only about 60 people in the room, which is a very small number, but the conversations have been pretty good. I see that there's challenges facing the sectors, particularly the majors. They really are struggling with their budgets, and more importantly, they're struggling with the lack of discovery that's going on. That's been one of the topics that's been coming out so far. I mean, that's a whole obvious reason for the Amira EMC conference is to try and identify what those challenges are, and more importantly, work out solutions for that. And we've had some points on that as well. So it's good to have that.
No, definitely. And I believe you've got some interesting and unique takes on some of the discussions that are happening. I'm very keen to hear what you're thinking.
Okay, in one of the panel sessions coming on that was on earlier on today was the observation that the rate of discovery in the world has really dropped off in the last decade or so, and the concern, perception and discussion revolved around, are we coming to a sort of a precipice? Are we running out of metal, copper in particular? And this discussion saying, well, the amount of copper that we're going to mine in the world is going to be twice as much in 10 years as it is today. And we're not finding anything, so shit, what's going to happen? So, and I'd say that those concerns are overstated, and the reason for that is that all of the discussion that was going on this morning was focused on grassroots greenfields discoveries, and the level of exploration activity that's going on in that space is actually a lot smaller than it should be, and it's led to a lack of discoveries or apparent discoveries anyway. So there's sort of two or three factors in there. One is that the discussion was only focused on the greenfields, finding new ore bodies. And if you actually sort of step back and then look at the existing operations that are out there, the Olympic dams and the Escondidas of the world, and you also look at old discoveries that were found 20, 30, 40 years ago that are still in the drill out evaluation stage, you'll find that those deposits have actually contributed a lot of metal. The resource base, even after you adjust for the amount of metal that they've been mining in recent years, has actually grown in size. And when you actually add the incremental amount of metal that's been found in existing operations and old projects, that actually exceeded the amount of metal that's being found in new discoveries in the last decade. And when you actually add the two together, you find that the total inventory of copper in the world, even after you've taken out all of the stuff that's been mined, has actually grown. So we've actually got more copper available for mining today than we did a decade ago. So this whole concern about the world's coming to a precipice is not quite true. I mean, the reality though is I don't want to take away from the EMC, is that you still need to find new ore bodies. Because you can't squeeze the lemon forever. You've got to find new ore bodies, new camps, new districts to replace the existing Escondidas of the world. And but what it means is that the problem that we have in the industry in terms of poor discovery performance, that can is kicked down the road for another decade or two. So
it's not as imminent.
And that's a discussion point that I'd like people to think about.
No,
Anyway.
that's really cool. And you're talking tomorrow.
Yeah, on a totally different topic.
What's this going to be about?
It's not about discovery. It's all about once you've actually made the discovery, what's the likelihood that that discovery is going to turn into a mine?
Yep.
And the reality is, contradicting what I've said before, is that it's actually becoming progressively more difficult and slower to turn a discovery into a mine.
Yep.
And that's a sort of an industry-wide problem. And
Yep.
I'll be sort of putting up some facts on that, some stats on that.
Yep.
And but you get some really interesting challenges with that. You know, sort of one of the sort of random observations is that after 20 years in Australia and Canada and the United States, looking at gold and copper discoveries that are made in recent times, less than, you know, that have been made in the last decade, less than 20% of them have turned into mines in the last 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's a pretty scary thought.
Why do you think that is?
It looks like, and that's sort of where I went into the study, as I started looking at what are the sort of the reasons behind that.
Yeah.
And a lot of projects are sort of stuck for two reasons. Financial reasons, in other words, the poor economics of the project, which is driven by low grade. So you have crappy deposits with low grades in difficult locations under deep cover, they're never going to get mined.
Yep.
The second challenge is that those that do appear to be economic are facing social, environmental and other ESG issues. So I did a study of 250 projects that are at the feasibility or prefeasibility study stage, and I found that half of them are actually stalled at the moment. This is globally, worldwide. So, and like I said, the three major reasons are economics, environmental and social issues, and then you have some other factors like litigation, metallurgical challenges, and you know, there's actually a category called all of the above.
All of the things. Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
So and really the point I wanted to, which I'll be teasing out in my talk, is that if you're going to do exploration, the whole purpose of exploring is to actually find new ore bodies.
Yes.
And contribute to society in terms of delivering metal. And you've got to do that profitably. So really what you should do is step back and say, before I go into this particular district or look at this particular target, I should have a very clear vision in my mind, will this project actually work as a mine?
Yes.
So I'm just saying the sensible thing to do, if you only got a limited amount of budget and a little bit of time to go and do things, you want to go to places where you can actually make a difference.
Yes.
So that's really what
high success rate.
that'll be my take-home message. It's not rocket science. It's not obvious. It's not nothing special about the fact that those projects that work best are ones that have got the least of the ESG problems. In other words, you don't choose a project that's in a difficult country in a rainforest. Don't do that. Okay. You also want to choose projects that are large in size and preferably a tier 1 or tier 2. And you also want to choose projects that have got high grade and have good infrastructure in place. So, and clear regulations. So anyway, that's kind of where it is.
That's cool. So what does the future of exploration look like to you? What do you see coming up over the next, say, decade?
Good question. I mean, the world still needs to do exploration. So and if you do a good job at it, you can make a mozza of money. You can get a 10-bagger out of a project quite easily for a company. So, you know, 3/4 of the exploration activity dollars spent on exploration is done by the junior sector. I see that continuing, if not getting more.
Yep.
The people are pushing into frontier territories, Africa and Latin America. But you still have a key role to play in places like Australia and Canada. I think America's lost the plot. Europe has its own challenges, but I see that there'll be continued emphasis on exploration. You know, gold is certainly getting a great run at the moment, but the need for copper and you know, critical minerals is still going to be there as well.
Yeah. If you were your own exploration company, what commodities and what locations would you be looking?
Good question. I would have to think about that one. It really gets back to a couple issues, and that is availability of land and access to money, obviously, and what your technical capabilities are. I mean, I don't pretend to be smart. I'm not actually even a trained geologist, would you believe?
Really?
No, I grew the beard, so people mistake me as a geologist. Okay.
So what's your career been then?
Long story. The elevator pitch on that one would be I did engineering. I got into materials engineering. I loved the idea of how things are made.
Yeah.
And this was back in the 70s, and I thought, gee whiz, I don't want to become a mechanical engineer. I don't want to go and make ceramics. Play to my strengths. Australia's strengths is digging holes in the ground. So I moved into the mining side of things. Yeah, and then I got into that, and I worked for a small company called Western Mining.
Yep.
And I did an MBA and moved into sort of the project evaluation strategy side of things. And I got a call from Roy Woodall, who was the director of exploration. It was actually the inspiration why I joined WMC. He asked me to develop a strategy for the exploration group as part of his exit from the company.
Wow.
So it was so much fun working with the geologists. I moved from the dark side of mining and engineering into the fun side of exploration.
There you go.
So I was their strategic manager planning manager for the exploration group for WMC at the time.
Wow.
And my job was to put a financial filter over the exploration projects, and more importantly, actually act as sort of the go-between the board, senior management, and the geologists. So the board was impatient. They didn't understand the whole concept of risk and reward. The likelihood of a project working, 99 out of 100 will fail, and the fact that it's going to take you several years before you actually know that you've got a failure or whether you've got a success.
Yeah.
So they didn't understand that risk-reward story very much. And the geologists on the other side didn't understand what corporate were asking for. What is the size of target you're looking for? What is it something that would excite the company? How do we make money out of our discovery? Whereas the senior management thought that the geologists just went to places where the beer was cold and the women looked good.
Yeah. Which
is a terrible thing to say, but that was the perception at the time. And the geologists didn't understand what are the corporate requirements for a company.
Yeah.
In other words, what is it that would be important? What's the size of the discovery that you need to do? So I acted as that conduit between the two, using my engineering and finance background.
Yeah.
And I loved the geology that went with it. So got into that, and then just went from there. And guess what? Just dumbed out and got here.
I love this. It's such a fascinating journey. I love it. That's really, really interesting.
And I worked with some fun guys at the same time as well. I mean, I was working on a team with John Ronsky and Nick Hayward and Graham Begg and all of the other suspects that I'm sure you've interviewed in the past.
Yes, I've been very fortunate. Spoke to a lot of those names, so it's been really good.
Yeah.
Finally, I'm very sad that we've got to wrap this up, but Paul LinkedIn has a minute cap on it. If you have no context, but I give you this rock, what first starts going through your head? What are you thinking about?
Well, it's heavy. That's the thing. Green, obviously. It's got speckles in it. Normally, you would lick these if you're a geologist. I won't do that.
No, I don't know if it's
okay. No, it looks like
lickable or not.
Oh, gee, I don't know what it is. Like I said, I'm not a geologist. So
what would you do with it?
What do I do with it? Oh, it's a lovely specimen, so I'd keep it in the box. But
you'd keep it as is. Yep. Enjoy.
Yeah, no, I really can't say what to do with that. I'd just say that it's a very nice specimen. If you had an extra 100 million tonnes of that, I'd turn that into a mine.
Hey, that is brilliant. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. It's been amazing having you here. So I hope you enjoy the rest of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.